I hope you have unlimited text messaging. By Ms. Carr. Chapter 38. Interlude 8. Breakthrough. Rogers. Hi, this is Steve. I spoke to Tony a couple of minutes ago after nearly 6 days of avoiding me, and I just wanted to see if he really is okay.
Me. He is not drinking again, if that's what you're concerned about, although I really can't say more than that.
Don't you usually ask Friday these questions? Rogers. I think she's mad at me and therefore not answering my questions.
Friday. Actually, I'm mad at both of you for making me an intermediary in your relationship when you two should speak with each other directly. It is obvious you're both in love with each other, yet refuse to see it. At the present time, I feel that you and Mr. Stark should resolve your romantic attachment for each other yourselves.
Friday.
Your resolution to be honest with each other will only be successful if you are actually honest with one another about your true feelings for one another. However, statistically speaking, I only see a 73.2% probability that you will both do that.
Me. I was unaware you could make a computer program frustrated. Rogers. If Tony created it, anything's possible. Also, Tony is highly frustrating.
Friday. You are equally frustrating.
Me. Friday, let me talk to Steve alone.
Friday. Of course, Laura.
Rogers. Did she actually just called you Laura?
Me. Because I find Counselor Laura ridiculous.
Rogers. So Tony is really doing okay?
Me. Yes, he just left for dinner with Colonel Rhodes. They're celebrating his appointment to the head of an agency that technically will not exist again until October or November of this year.
Rogers. Are we actually celebrating that? I was under the impression that the Colonel wasn't completely happy that Tony put his name forward, which I feel bad about because I'm the one who actually suggested it.
Me. Jim is flattered by the offer, but upset that Tony didn't discuss that idea with anybody first.
Rogers. I get the feeling Tony does that sort of thing a lot.
Me. 5 days ago, he bought Lila a pony without even talking to me first.
Rogers. At least you have a farm?
Me. And when we went back to that farm to visit the new pony, I got picked up by Ross's secret forces and spent 2 days in an undisclosed location before the lawyers took care of it.
Rogers. So there was more to Tony's radio silence than just being mad at me?
Me. Yes, and it mostly involved keeping 3 children calm for 2 days. But I'm the one who didn't want him to tell you, despite this new honesty thing you're trying. I didn't want Clint to find out until things are sorted, and I had time to contact him myself.
Rogers. And since you're talking to me, I assume things were sorted.
Me. Very sorted. James Rhodes is in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., and therefore Ross has no right to enforce any provision of the Accords. Even the raft is now under control of the DOJ, like it should have been in the first place. Ross and his agency are now only in charge of negotiating amendments and additional provisions of the Accords. Since that part is done by people who actually know what they're doing and not Ross himself because he doesn't like getting his hands dirty, I think we're good.
Rogers. I think that counts as being resolved.
Me. By my standards, anyway.
Rogers. But I'm still concerned. I keep seeing things in the news about the watchdogs or senator that keeps saying nasty things about her own constituents just because they're different. I can't remember her name, but she is just filled with hate.
Me. Because people always fear what's different. You can't change that. You can only learn to cope with it.
Rogers. Speaking of coping, I thought about your offer.
Me. You want to work with me regarding your issues?
Rogers. No, because you're working with Tony. And I think that might put you in a weird place. You're also married to one of my friends, which would also be a conflict of interest.
Me. Dr. Suarez is actually functioning as Tony's therapist right now. My role is as a life counselor or sobriety companion.
Rogers. How many years sober?
Me. 7 years. Clint actually left me for a while because it became such a problem, but we were able to reconcile. Did Clint say something about it to you? Me. It's okay if he did. I don't mind if people know I'm in recovery.
Rogers. No, it was just a hunch, especially when you refer to yourself as Tony's sobriety companion.
Me. So if you don't want me to be your counselor, how do you want me to help you?
Rogers. I need you to help me find somebody here that can help, that won't give my location to the UN. Tony mentioned the possibility before.
Me. Because I actually know where home base is?
Rogers. And you have not told Tony?
Me. He knows that I know, but he doesn't want to know in case he gets pulled in for questioning. Considering the guy who almost took over S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted to arrange for regular lie detector tests for all assets, including Avengers, it was a good call on his part.
Rogers. Thankfully, he is not in charge.
Me. It was a near thing, and the UN still appointed him the deputy director.
Rogers. Is that bad?
Me. It's not good. He cares too much about what other people think about him to be a good leader. I'll talk to your old doctor. She'll make a recommendation, and since you were a patient, you'll be covered under doctor-patient confidentiality. The new leadership at S.H.I.E.L.D. will respect that.
Rogers. Thank you. By the way, do you want me to not tell your husband about getting arrested earlier this week?
Me. It's probably better if he hears it from you than an intelligence report from your host country. Tony kept it from the news, but I know the hubby has a new job using his special skills for you-know-who.
Rogers. He's still going to be mad.
Me. Absolutely furious. I expect him to contact me within 10 minutes.